Well, hello, my beautiful Pisces. Welcome to my channel. This is Baba Jolie here with a little bonus reading all about you. I've already cleansed your space and have meditated on your cards. For those of you who are returning, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for all your wonderful likes, shares, and subscribes. I am truly grateful for all your beautiful energy. Just a little reminder though, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one reading, just so you're aware. Also, please be mindful, scammers are about, pretending to be me and lots of other tarot readers. I do not do personal readings and I will never reach out to you personally to offer one. Also, I will never ask you for money, e-gifts, or donations. So if anyone masquerading as me asks for anything at all, please report them or ignore them. It is a scam, okay? Let's move straight on with your reading. Now, you may notice the Gaia chimes have been reinstated. I miss them too much, so of course I had to bring them back. So please be mindful to turn down your volume if you are someone who is sensitive to sound, okay? So let us begin. Okay, my beautiful Pisces, this is a little bonus reading all about you. Us tarot readers, we tend to focus on career, money, love, but we never ask how are you doing. So this reading is going to tap into what you're moving through at this moment in time and of course what lies on the other side. Now, I have to mention it because it was quite intense. I do a little 10-minute meditation before I start your reading. I scry in the water. I basically light the candle with a match and then I hold the match over the water and then I extinguish the match in the water and then images come up. And it was really intense for you. So all of a sudden, all this smoke came out. You know, also there was some circles and suddenly just all of a sudden I've lost my train of thought. It was a phoenix rising from the ashes. So it felt very much like there was this hurricane or storm or this like pressure, okay? I don't feel it's a hurricane coming in your life. I feel it's more that you've been going through something like that where there's been a lot of pressure, because if you think about the nature of hurricanes and storms, they are, you know, high and low pressure and the dynamics and how they work. So it can be that you've been under a lot of pressure, but now you're rising from something, because I feel with all that smoke and steam that came from the water, it feels like either you're blowing off steam or you're going to release the pressure in some way. So if you have been going through something, I'm sending you a huge hug out there and so much love. But I actually see you rising up from something that has been challenging, okay? So I'm just going to leave it like that. It was a very positive energy. It was kind of like this whoosh of like you're rising up, okay? Things are getting infinitely better. So I'll leave it like that and just get straight to your reading to see what's coming out in the cards for you, okay? Thank you so much, Spirit Guides, Guardian Angels. Can you please guide my beautiful Pisceans? We have the Two of Swords. Now, that is your starting position. So a lot of you, Two of Swords can be a period of feeling a bit restless, perhaps in a period of deep thought. You know, maybe even feeling a little bit like stalemate in your life, like nothing's really happening there. It feels like same old thing, just a different day. You're managing your responsibilities and tasks, but also the Two of Swords can be a period of uncertainty. Even though you have goals and dreams and things that you're connecting to, it can feel like, you know, the path is unclear or you can't see something at this moment in time. But I feel like with that Two of Swords, a lot of you are in a period of prioritizing your own needs and, you know, trying to protect your peace of mind after some sort of challenge or conflict. That's what a Two of Swords literally means there, but we will get into that. I mean, look at that. You've got the Seven of Wands, and actually there is a big, you know, stream of smoke there. coming up. It's like a cloud. It's almost like something's being released, or you've been standing up for something that you believe in, or, you know, protecting something in opposition to something, maybe even protecting your self-confidence from the everyday, you know, knocks of life, as it were. So I will, like, as I said, go a little bit deeper when I touch the cards, but you've got a Ten of Pentacles there as well, so it's crossing. So some of you, there may have been some conflict in a relationship, maybe people being a little bit frustrated, or perhaps, you know, there has been some minor arguments or conflict within the family unit, or with a friendship, someone close perhaps. I feel this will dissipate. It will clear the air. Both parties will take accountability. You will return to each other and find a way to work things out. You know, take responsibility for each side. So I want you to be aware of that. If you have been having any conflict with a person, I see it being worked out. It's delicate. It's a delicate situation. I do see that, but I feel it will be resolved. We got that Three of Wands. It may require a little bit of space before you come back to that, but these are things outside of yourself. I will tap into what's going on within you right now. There could be a bit of an inner battle within you where you've had to be strong on something. Some of you, got a lot of cards popping out there. Some of you may be a little bit worried about finances, for example, or stability in general. And maybe that's something that's been on your mind. How would you like to receive? The Hermit. We've got the Six of Wands in that position. I'll pop that there. How would you like to receive? Okay, so we have the Tower. Okay, we've got the Hierophant. We have the Empress. We have the Ten of Cups. We have the Five of Cups, and we have the Knight of Swords. So some of you are definitely going through a major transition, lifestyle changes and choices there. I mean, the Tower can also be a bit of a shock, or even a restructure in your life. So I feel you're building back better than ever before. But looking at the Empress being present, I feel that you are valuing yourself in a different way and having to let go of things that no longer serve a purpose in your life. You know, the Tower is to release. I mean, it's literally to release the pressure. So it can be that if you have been under a lot of stress recently, this is the pinnacle point where you're like, you know, you've hit a level, you're managing your stress levels, and it feels like you're recalibrating. But it can be, especially since we have that Five of Cups there, you're releasing the pressure. You know, this can be that you're evolving away from people or situations that cause too much pressure or put too much expectation upon you right now, and you're saying, you know what, I value me and I don't want to lose myself in this, whatever this is, and I feel like you're prioritizing your own needs. Now that again is something both outside of yourself but also inside of yourself. So let's get to your cards. The Two of Swords is very insular. Okay, so you may feel that you've removed yourself briefly from situations, quietly reserved your energy for yourself. The Two of Swords often sees a person with, you know, crossed swords there, protecting their peace because it's like the barriers are up. But also this can be the thinking stages of something, remaining in a peaceful state of mind to get clarity on an answer. You know, perhaps you're trying to work out something here and you may shock people with your decision. But you're honoring yourself, you're honoring your time. So I do see a quest for more independence here in your life. And this Two of Swords can indicate that you're about to do something bold and daring. Because the figure, the history of the Two of Swords, the figure is about to discover new lands in the background of the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot. And I love to reference that deck because it really gives an idea of what the card actually means. I mean, this deck is beautiful, okay? And it has its merits, absolutely. But the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot really pinpoints what's going on in the cards. So if you know the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot, the figure in the Two of Swords sits on a very calm shore. The waters are calm, you know, there's stepping stones, as it were, to a new island. So it can be that you're about to do something bold, daring, and new in your life, and you need quiet time to reflect. You don't want any distractions at this time. You may have even been going through a very tense situation. You know, the Two of Swords is a reconciliation if you've been having arguments or conflict in the family, because Ten of Pentacles can be family units, but also it can be soul tribe members, for example, your friends, the people you hold dear. But this will be resolved over time, but it needs space. But this is something outside of yourself. For some of you, if you've gone through a separation with a person. For some of you, if you're still in contact with this person, there could be a mediation. So you could like seek a counselor, for example, and try to find a way back to the love. Because Six of Cups is there, so that can indicate nostalgia, a period where both of you were kind of like, more in tune or more aligned or more understanding, but the pressures of the everyday has got in the way. And if you're wondering with a certain relationship whether you can find your way back towards each other, I definitely see here there is a reconciliation. But the Five of Cups is present. So this can indicate that you and your person need to smash through an obstacle or perhaps a reoccurring conversation that keeps breaking down the relationship in some way. Now, this could be a hurt from the past. For some of you, it can be something that you experience together or separate. With the Hermit energy present, I feel this could be something from either you or your partner's past. Okay, it can be an old wound that keeps resurfacing. So, for example, if your partner has been cheated on in the past, it could be that they are struggling with feelings of either not being enough or being left abandoned in a connection, or vice versa. If that's something you experience, it could be an old wound that's been playing out in the relationship. And we must acknowledge that we should not take baggage from past experiences into new experiences because, of course, the person that you're with right now did not create the wound. So it's like a clean slate. But if we haven't done the processing of the emotions, and this can be anything, doesn't have to be like that they were cheated on or you were or betrayed. It can be from the very root. It can be from childhood, for example. If people witness parents or guardians divorcing, it can be that they struggle with trust in a relationship, that it's going to be stable, that a person is going to stick around, or it can be that sometimes, especially since the Tower is present, and I'm only mentioning people outside of yourself because we do have a Three of Wands, which can represent a couple dynamic or more than one person, and there's also this Empress, Ten of Cups, and of course the Hierophant. So relationship, high level commitments or commitments to people, for example. But if you witness turbulent relationships when you're younger, that's almost like a lesson to a child to absorb that, oh, this must be what love is. It doesn't feel right, but it's something you witness, you absorb it, and then you kind of seek it out in either toxic relationships or relationships that are intense high drama. Because then it feels like you're alive, that like that person must love me because this is what happens in relationships. But actually, I feel like you will find a calmer energy with your partner in the future, but there must be something overcome here. You can come together, you can make it work. There is electricity between you both, and that Five of Cups indicates a releasing of the grief or the obstacle to be back in the ebb and flow. And, the Five of Cups has a very important message, which is to remember what you have already in the relationship. If it can be saved, it shall be saved. But both parties, of course, will do the work, and there'll be like accountability there. This is a head-to-head. So with that Camel there, that is a energy of moving through a challenging environment, but having the resources to do so, or, kind of like enduring a situation until the very end. But you're not just enduring, you're pushing through in order to resolve. So if you are going through a dynamic with a partner or a friend or a sibling or a parent, or even like your boss or neighbor or whatever it is, I feel like you push on through to find a position where you can discuss it and lay it all out on the table and find a way to resolve it. But in the meantime, you're valuing yourself. With that Hermit, you are someone who's very knowledgeable, but withdrawing gives you thinking time. It gives the breathing space to this experience so that you can resolve it within yourself first before you can offer to meet someone halfway and discuss. Okay, and so that's coming through there. But I want to bring it back to you because a lot of you are not dealing with that. But if you are going through a separation or you're noticing a distance between a friendship or things are evolving, I feel, there may be some shocking conversations, but it clears the air, if that makes sense. That's what a storm does. That's why I saw that energy at the beginning, the hurricane energy. It, of course, can cause destruction. Words are very powerful. Two of Swords can indicate two people who've wounded each other, or it can be that you've experienced a wound from a person or a situation and now you're guarded and you're like, that's not going to happen ever again. So I feel it kind of like releases the pressure, clears the air in some way for you there. But if you're going through a divorce, for example, this could be finalized. And of course, you'll be moving through a different period in your life. The Knight of Swords is to adapt to a new environment. I feel there is an energy of you wondering whether you will love again. Yes, you will. And there will be a high level commitment attached to that as well. Someone who, you know, is a warrior, someone who is not afraid of their feelings, someone who articulates how they feel. They're very honest, open. So if you have been going through a period where you're like moving into hermit mode, you're going from a relationship into singlehood in some way, I feel, yes, you will grieve the experience you've just had. And again, I'm sending you a huge hug out there and so much love. But I do see that, you know, you will return to happier times, and there is an investment in a relationship with someone in your future. But let's reel it all back. Let's get straight into this is your energy. This is all about you. Two of Swords indicates that for some of you, you may be feeling in a period where, of course, you know, you're locked onto your goals, your dreams, you know what it is you want, but somehow there's an energy of things feeling uncertain. You know, this card can be a card where you feel that you're in fight or flight mode. You're always kind of like preempting that something will change or something will shock you or something will be thrust into chaos. Now, of course, you know, this can be that a lot of you have been on autopilot, but also there's this energy of expecting troubles ahead, shall we say. And this could come from experiences that like humanity have had over the last couple of years. It can be that there's an undercurrent that you're tapping into right now where you feel uncertain about the way of the world, how things are headed. And I feel like you're trying to remove yourself from any drama or anything that kind of robs you of your inner peace. You're aware of things outside of yourself. And I feel like this is a period of like being more resourceful and focusing on your path, doing what you can for your outer circumstances and the outer world, but at the same time feeling it's time to go inwards and really work out what it is that you want or what the missing ingredients are in your life, okay? This is a card of duality, so this can indicate that it's time to make a decision on something and you have options that you're looking at. But as you can see with this card, there is a camel there. So this indicates that you are a very strong person. You know, you do have the warrior card there with that Knight of Swords, and it indicates that you will adapt no matter what your circumstances are. That's why you've got a camel there as well, okay? So a lot of you with the Five of Cups, you could be feeling really like fed up with something, that you're exhausted, you're tired, but you still feel like you are showing up for yourself and you have a long way to go on something that you're working towards. This could be like a personal development project. You're investing in yourself. You are perhaps even calling into view, as it were, or clarity, intrusive thoughts. You're protecting yourself against intrusive thoughts. You may have found yourself more called recently to connect to meditation or mindfulness or apps that help you sleep, or in some way find quiet time so that you can find balance, as it were, because this is a need to ground yourself in some way and recognize that you are showing up in a challenging environment, but you're making it through and you are going to see things through to the very end and be in a very secure position. So very positive energy. Two of Swords is kind of like rooted to the spot in order to think, in order to work out who you are, what you want, where you've been, where you're taking things to next, to find a peaceful resolution to a tense situation. And crossing you is the Ten of Pentacles. So a lot of you, this could be about security, whether that's security in the world at large, whether this is security in your like personal finances, for example, or in your family unit. You know, Ten of Pentacles, especially in the crossing position, it can indicate that there has been some worry about finances, or, I mean, this is something outside of yourself, but when it is partnered with a Two of Swords, especially in a reading about you, this could be that you're trying to be a little bit more mindful for your bodily needs. You know, that you may feel a little bit out of balance or out of sync because of a vitamin deficiency or a hormonal kind of imbalance there, and you're trying to recalibrate. You're focusing more on your body, mind, and soul at this time. I do apologize for that very low airplane. I hope it's not too loud for you. It's super loud here. I think it's a helicopter actually, but yeah. Anyway, let's move on. It was pretty loud for me, so hopefully the microphone managed to cancel out the noise there. But, you know, of course, the kind of worry about finances is going to be there in a fluctuating economic market, as it were, but you've got a King of Pentacles in your circumstances outside of yourself, which means you are very clever with your finances, you're very savvy, you're very serious, and some of you may feel like life has got pretty serious over the last couple of years and you're trying to find that spark and that joy in things again. But also I feel like you are going to have more material success. You are going to be protected when it comes to finances. I feel like you're showing up and you're making a difference when it comes to money. Okay, so I feel like you're building when it comes to your finances, and that you are conserving what you already, you know, have, and also finding a way to make really great decisions financially. So I would say there's nothing to worry about here financially, looking at the energy. But the Ten of Pentacles, you know, when you get this card as a crossing energy, it can indicate either home, you know, for example, Two of Swords. For some of you, you may feel like, you know, the environment that you have decided to dwell in, you know, you want to make it your sanctuary. But sometimes, because this is a crossing energy, it can be that there's interference. Either your neighbors are pretty loud, or there's something outside, like the helicopter going past, for example. It can be that your home is your sanctuary, because the Ten of Pentacles is a home card. And some of you may be looking to move at this time because you have that Knight of Swords there as well. So you could be reflecting on where you feel like you belong at this moment in time. But ultimately, I feel like you're trying to find peace, security, and sanctuary. And of course, there's always going to be worry about those things, because humans, you know, we like to know where we're at ultimately. But at the same time, we also need to have a little bit more spontaneity in our world as well. So with this Ten of Pentacles, you know, this is an energy here of finding the balance, I would say, between your life philosophy, your traditions, but also doing something bold and daring, or seeking outside of your usual parameters, you know, looking for new alternatives or adventurous energy there, because these can be very stable energies. Like, you're consistent in something, you are committed to something, but you may be looking at your responsibilities at this time and feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders, and feeling, of course, you're showing up for yourself and your responsibilities, whatever they may be. But, you know, the Seven of Wands says you're going to protect that. But also, it can be, especially since we have so many like exciting cards here at the end of your energy, it's like you want to like break free from a cycle of repeat, or you want to be safe to explore new avenues. So for example, if you are in an apartment that you are renting right now, it can be that you want to purchase a home, for example, and that requires you stepping up financially. Everything is always going to be a risk, but you are secure. You know, you're getting good advice. So it can be that you are upgrading your life, for example, and it comes with worry. You feel defensive. You're about to do something monumental. And I'm just giving you this as like an indication of what it could be applied to. I'm not saying you're specifically going through this at this time, but the Seven of Wands indicates that, you know, you're in your prime. No matter what age you are, you're in your prime right now. The time is now. So this is about protecting your inner peace. A lot of you are in this energy of like protection. These two cards are protective energies. Okay, so trying to protect your independence. Sevens are all about independence at this time. So if you live with your family, for example, you honor the dynamic within that family unit, but at the same time, you're individual. You're not going to do the same things as your family. You're not going to follow in that route all the time. And if you do, you put your own unique spin on it, for example. So you could be trying to exert your independence or not lose yourself in groupthink or a certain dynamic. You know, if you're in a career, for example, you want to stand out. If you are like, you know, looking for love, you naturally stand out. Sevens, especially when it comes to a Seven of Wands, this is about you being independent, being free, not conforming, but also it's a card of perseverance. And you have like, how many cards of perseverance here? Two of Swords. You have the Seven of Wands. I saw the storm there with the Phoenix. We've got the Strength card. The Five of Cups can be a perseverance card as well. So yeah, you have perseverance cards here. So I would say right now that you're moving through something that perhaps was quite challenging, but you're like taking it to the top. You're not compromising, and you are focused on what's important for you at this time. You know, this can also be a card of defense. So if you feel someone has been singling you out in some way, you may have felt really defensive about this, and you're kind of like standing up to it in some way. For example, if someone is putting too much responsibility on you and you feel like you're happy to help, but at the same time it's tipping the balance and you feel that someone's taking advantage, this could be that you're standing up and saying, no, you're removing yourself from that situation at this time. I mean, this is an energy of being courageous. You know, it's about making a stand. It's making like yourself move towards a successful position. So, I mean, I'm going to look at this card a little bit deeper because my guide said, look at the card, so I am. So I realized that actually, at first I thought this was taking a mask off the face, but actually it's a fan. So maybe you are fanning the flames of desire in your life or passion, things that you're excited about. This is a Wands card, so that's all about your fire, okay? So if you feel that life has been pretty, you know, same with that Two of Swords energy, it can be that you feel a little bit, not stuck in a rut, but you feel like you're in limbo. It's a waiting card. You have a lot of waiting energy. Two of Swords there, Three of Wands. So you're looking to the horizon, working towards something, and you're going to accomplish it, whatever it is. You're persistent. You're not giving up on it. You're a very strong person. You know, also, I feel like you've pushed through worse in the past. You are someone who's been through some stuff. And I feel there is this energy that you're actually achieving a lot right now. It may not feel like it, especially when you're in the middle of it. That Two of Swords means you're in the middle of something and you feel like you've still got a ways to go on it, whatever it is. You may be battling away with something, whether it is a career, whether it's you managing some sort of health symptom, whether you're managing dynamics within a family unit or challenges within certain relationships. I feel like you are someone who is kind of like powering on through despite how exhausted you feel with this. And sometimes, you know, you may feel like what you do is never enough, but actually you're going to have this breakthrough moment where you know, get a resolution or get the desired outcome of whatever that is there for you. Now, of course, we are in a world that is ever changing, and you may feel like you're under pressure because this can be a card of stress. You know, it can be a card where you're showing up regardless, and it is a stressful situation in some way. And, you know, I feel this energy that it's like you're still focused on your goals, and you may feel like the goalposts are moved sometimes, but you're still making a difference. When you're in the middle of something, you know, it's hard to gauge where you feel like you're at right now. So that Two of Swords can be that you're taking stock of like where you feel like you're at with things, and you're making plans on how to build further or move further along from where you feel like you are right now. I mean, the Six of Wands is in the past position, so that does mean that you are achieving a lot right now. And although it may not feel like it, as I mentioned there, I feel a lot of you are maintaining and sustaining. To go from a Six of Wands in the past position, but have on the earthly plane the Seven of Wands, you know, a lot of you could have conquered something already and trying to maintain it now. So whatever that is for you. But also it can be that you're trying to protect your position in something. So if this is career related for you, because it's not going to be career related for everybody, it can be that, you know, you are worried about financial fluctuations. You're wondering if you can protect your position. And I see that, yes, there will be some major changes in your future, okay? But actually I see that with that Hierophant, you have a lot of knowledge, and I feel like you protect your position, and you're in a good position to, you know, gain more wealth with that King of Pentacles. But this reading is not about things outside of yourself. I just feel that this is you and your temperament, where you never give up, and you are someone who is taking things to the top. You're going the distance, and you're actually living life on your own terms. Like, for example, if you are a parent as well, and maybe you have grown-up children, it can be that they're very protective over you, and you feel, okay, that's nice, but at the same time, you're like, look, let me live my life. You know, it can be that you're like, well, I was here before you, and, you know, I've been through some stuff. So I appreciate that you care so much, but you don't need to kind of like have kid gloves with you. It's like you want more independence, for example. And especially if you are in retirement, it can be that you're trying to make a decision about, You know, if you're thinking about moving, for example, you may be moving to a place that is a little bit further away from family. Whether you're retired or not, this could be a case for some people out there, or you're trying to work out where you want to be, you know, and the distance between family or soul tribe members at this time. And if you feel like your relationships with your soul tribe or your friends have been evolving, there's distance there, I feel the Seven of Wands is you kind of like allowing them to come to you because you are done with overextending your kindness all the time or being an overgiver. The Six of Wands is an energy of wanting to be seen and understood. And you may feel that in the past people cared enough to want to delve a little bit deeper. You may feel that people have lost their way, or you may even feel that people are so busy now that they're so self-consumed with life because it is highly pressurized. That's not a negative. That can just mean that life is so demanding right now that everybody's got their own thing going on, and it just feels like, you know, the relationships between people are not fracturing, but they are kind of distancing because there's so much going on. So you may kind of, in that Six of Cups, feel it was easier, you know, long time ago or a certain point, or you may be trying to pinpoint when it all changed because there is a restructure going on in your life. It feels very much like you're going through a major transition or awakening, and you're just noticing things that perhaps you didn't see before. That's what the Two of Swords can be. It can be that intuitively you're moving through this period, but also there's something that you didn't see that now you're awakening to because the Tower is there. So this could be that suddenly you're realizing something about a person or a neighborhood or, you know, the world, whatever it is. There's so many layers to life. And it can be that suddenly you're like, whoa, this does not fit with me anymore. You're a different person. You've changed. And therefore, the dynamics in your life are also changing. You are shifting. You're protecting your energy from, you know, circumstances that drain you. We have that Strength card, which tells me that, you know, you are someone who is a very tough person and you're going to overcome a struggle or a problem that you have been either dealing with or battling away at for some time. You know, the Strength card is interesting because this one has what almost is symbolic of like a sunflower, because this part of the plant, a lot of you are going through a major personal development period of growth there, but you know, it almost looks like a sunflower, and a sunflower goes through a lot of mud to become the sunflower, right? And it faces the sun. So you may have been going through a period that has been challenging, that you've had to kind of like dig away at your past in order to process it, but also plant new seeds. And not just new seeds in terms of like ideas and finances, but also reprogram. You know, reprogram narratives that perhaps you grew up with or that you witnessed or absorbed or thought many years ago. And as you evolve and mature, those narratives don't fit anymore. You evolve into a new person, new stages of life. So it can be that you've gone through a lot to be where you are right now, and now you're prioritizing your happiness. You don't want any drama. You're shifting away from this at this time in order to create inner calm. So I feel, you know, you're going through a period where you overcome a struggle. The Strength card, you know, it also indicates that you are vigilant. You know, I feel there is this courage of following your heart, but also being vigilant. Because if you think about the nature of a big cat like a tiger, they have that intuition, you know, they're very watchful, shall we say, watching from the sidelines. But it's interesting because your starting card is the Two of Swords, which is to watch with your gut instinct or be aware of your intuitive leanings, shall we say. And because you have that Seven of Wands, a lot of you may have been in a very hyper-vigilant state over the last couple of years, watching and waiting, seeing what's next, for example, anticipating the next shocking event to come on the world stage, as it were. And, you know, unfortunately, there's a lot of conflict and a lot of struggle in the world at the moment. So you are a very intuitive person and you feel deeply. So you could feel that pressure of the world on a different layer and level right now, and it can make you feel hyper-vigilant, especially if you're bombarded with like clickbait or slogans that just pop up, even if you're trying to avoid the news, for example, which I don't try to source out any of that, right? I stay away from that because it kind of like hits your cortisol levels. And a lot of you looking at the energy, especially with the Tower and the Seven of Wands, you're protecting against high cortisol levels or stress. okay, or combustible experiences, things that either trigger you or perhaps cause you to get argumentative or fired up about something in a negative way. So you may be avoiding it, but somehow it still seeks you out, finds you. I'll avoid everything, and then suddenly a slogan will come in as like a pop-up or something, and I'm like, what? I didn't want to see that. Why? So a lot of you could be like, I don't want to see, with that Two of Swords. So you're trying to focus on your needs, prioritizing things for you, your family, for example. And I feel like you're, going to manage that quite nicely there. I do see with the Six of Cups that there is a return to happier times, okay? You're not looking back also at your past with rose-tinted glasses, because the Tower is there, which means you're seeing things fully as they are. You're being really honest with yourself. So you may be going over old ground on arguments, conversations and experiences that you had with people. And you may be realizing certain things now that you didn't realize then. For example, like if a friend was always passive aggressive, or, if someone gave you a compliment that also had an undercurrent of something negative, you may be seeing through these things at this time and think, wow, I thought actually that we were tight, we were good friends. Now I think back, maybe I missed some things because you had a pure heart. You were open to these people or to these situations, and you just wanted to live in their energy and enjoy their company. But you may be witnessing things like jealousy, because Seven of Wands is a jealousy energy. It can be that, someone tried to tear you down, but at some point, this person was tight with you. There was loyalty there with a Ten of Pentacles. So some of you are just becoming aware of people or situations that you're outgrowing, or that you feel a need to distance yourself from or protect yourself from or cut them out of your life. We can step back and not cut people out. We can protect our inner peace and at the same time eventually have like a healthy conversation with a person to say, hey, I'm calling you out on your stuff. So the Tower can be that you're calling someone out and it may shock them. Or if you are saying, actually, this cycle of repeat that we're in, where we just do that thing, have that same conversation, you're like, no, it stops now. You've drawn a line in the sand. And the Six of Cups is like, I remember how this keeps going. But with that Tower, you're like, no. As you kind of move through a period of personal development and growth, you are downloading higher frequencies. And that's what the Tower is. It is hit by a lightning bolt, an epiphany, a realization. The lightning bolt is a higher frequency, which will shatter anything that is not authentic and true, or anything that wasn't stable, or anything that wasn't like a structure that was conducive to your personal development. So you may be seeing a lot of change going on around dynamics, relationships at this moment. The Six of Cups also indicates, because it is in your near future, that the universe is bestowing some sort of good karma upon you. There's something positive coming here, okay? But a lot of you with this Six of Cups, and because the nature of your first card, which is to be very thoughtful, Two of Swords is very insular, very thoughtful, very reflective. This can be that you're thinking about like childhood, your journey till now. And you may have some revelations that help you cathartically let go of some emotional blockages, especially with that Five of Cups being present. I feel this is about you being in the flow of freeing yourself up from any challenging emotions that no longer sit with you or that have been blocking your path. Experiences from the past are very important. They shape who we are. So we must acknowledge that they were very important. They are our past. However, they're in the past, and whilst they existed then and shaped us, they must not impede our future happiness. So that's why we process and attempt to let go of some experiences or emotions in order to free ourselves up for happiness, for joy, to allow ourselves to heal. So I feel with this Three of Wands, it's like there's an energy of kind of like being a visionary, seeing your future, healing. I mean, this is a healing card as well. This can be that you're healing to have a brighter future, or, that the future is bright, the horizon is bright, there's better opportunities because you're doing the work, you're turning your back on something that has been, in your life for a while. So I feel like you're focusing on your plans right now. You're paying attention. When you get a Three of Wands, you're paying attention. and you're paying attention from your gut instinct and how you feel on things. Of course, you're going to get the facts on things. You have a Knight of Swords, which is to be very diligent. It is to seek facts to back up your feelings. So if you have intuitive leanings for anything right now, no matter what area of your life, Knight of Swords says you will discover the facts. What I love is you have a Ten of Cups there, which means there's a lot of peace, serenity, good fortune, and well-being in your future. Taking pleasure in the moment, spending good quality time with the people that you love. But the Three of Wands, it is an energy of purifying. All these figures are actually in the water there. Even though it's wands, it can be that, this is a period of detoxifying, letting go of some challenging emotions or experiences in order to master your future, strengthen your present moment. The Three of Wands is also you asking a question like, am I on the right path? You're turned towards success right now, and success can come in many forms. So if you're focused on like reshaping your body, there'll be success in that area. You're going to be more active. You're going to be more focused on what you digest, what you listen to, how you sleep, the environments you find yourself in. Do you connect to nature? All of those things inform your body and your soul and your mindset. If you are focused on career right now, there are opportunities on the horizon and you are preparing. It feels like you're strategizing and you're getting ready to lock onto some of these opportunities. So yes, you are on the right path. You're making good decisions right now, and this is something that you need to be aware of. So whatever your focus is, even if you're looking for love, the Three of Wands is an energy of like looking further afield, or even if you feel stuck in a rut, this is about you seeking things outside your usual parameters, to get more involved in life, to let go of the shore, as it were, to seek things a little bit further out. It doesn't mean you're going overseas, but it can do. For some of you, you may be contemplating a move overseas, or you may shock some people because you've got some great news for you. However, it means that the nature of the relationships are changing. So, for example, many years ago, one of my friends decided to move completely across the world to another country, and we were all like super shocked. That can be the Tower energy. Okay, but we all supported the decision and said, you know what, this is absolutely the best thing for you to do. It's going to make you so happy. We are so happy for you. But of course, the Five of Cups means there's sadness. We're going to miss each other. I can't just see them whenever I want to. I have to, of course, like video call, but it requires a lot of effort to fly nearly 20 hours across the world to visit. So there's a limit there. You can still keep in touch. That's what that Five of Cups is about. You can still keep in touch. But the change is happening. So, it can be that you are managing or adjusting to change right now in your life. And the King of Pentacles is something outside of yourself, which means you are secure to explore, or you are kind of like in a really good position to take things to the next level in your life. Of course, this is a card that indicates that you are attracting wealth as well, but also this is, your responsibilities and duties. We're always going to have those in life, always. I think there's even a famous saying, I can't really remember, but it's coming in. I'm just seeing like a pile of dishes in the sink right now in the water, random, okay? But it can indicate like, you know what? You can always do the dishes later. Go out and have fun. Go and do the things that you really want to do. Let that stay, and you can do it another time. Sometimes we kind of like, of course, we have responsibilities and duties to show up in that way. But if we just become responsibility and duty, then of course we will find ourselves stuck or in limbo or in this position where we feel nothing is happening. We're just enduring a situation, and it just feels like it's a long journey. So it must be broken up by, variety. That is the spice of life. So I feel a lot of these thoughts are coming out right now. So perhaps you've got a lot going on in your mind. I definitely see that a lot of you feel life has got pretty serious because this is a circumstance outside of yourself. And the King of Pentacles is like tasks, responsibilities, the business of life. It's like being a leader, of course, and trying to find opportunities and manifest your desires, staying focused and working really hard every day to make your life work. But also it's a question when it's partnered with that Two of Swords, like what else? Can I find balance in order to do everything? The answer is, of course, yes. So I feel with this King of Pentacles here. This is you being responsible, being down to earth, you know, having a strong sense of duty and loyalty to your family, to your friends, to the people that you allow into your life. But you need to find space for you and not lose yourself in all of that. You are independent. You are unique. I mean, for some of you, this could be that you're trying to like set up your own independent business and it's been hard and you're deep in thought about how you can set yourself apart, really like outshine the competition, because I feel your talents and your gifts really do. Seven of Wands says you're above the competition. And I feel like you're going to make a lot of money. You're going to be seen in all your glory and all your talents. So if this is something that's on your mind, I feel like your dedication is going to take you to the top and bring in loads of money there as well. But this is more about security. So I feel, because there's so many eyes or vigilant cards, I feel that you may have been in a period of hypervigilance and now you're learning that you can kind of drop your shield. And this could be emotionally. In terms of relationships, doesn't have to be the world at large, doesn't have to be the economy, doesn't have to be money, doesn't have to be like job related. Or, you know, for some of you, it can be that you're entering into a new period, like you're retiring or you have retired and things are working on a different pace. Just feels like, you know, perhaps your friends have not retired at the same time and you feel out of sync in some way in your life. And you're trying to get back into sync, meet new people. So whatever it is, I feel like you're recalibrating at this time and you will find your way. And you are secure to explore. That keeps coming up. Now, the hope and a fear is the Hermit energy. So this can indicate that you feel very isolated or alone in a circumstance right now. And you're hoping it won't always be this way. I mean, you're cool all by yourself. This means that you're self-sufficient, you're independent, but at the same time, it would be nice to share your energy with others or integrate in some way. So if you're searching for soul tribe members, I definitely see that you're going to meet some people that you really resonate with. It could come also at a reschedule. So there could be an event which gets rescheduled, or you have a double booking and you have to let go of one thing and think, oh, I don't want to not go to it, but this is better. So the one that's better for you, that you're interested in, that's the one you're going to meet all these people. There's going to be two people that you really resonate. One that's going to be your bestie for life, and the other one's going to be great, but they may dip in and out of your life because I feel like they travel a lot, or they, I feel like they're always on the go. They always have something going on, so they cannot give as much to it, to the connection, but they're really fun to be with. So you really love being around them, okay? But the Hermit, of course, this is a personal journey of discovery. And in that period of personal development and growth, that is when, you know, you become separate from the noise of life. You protect yourself because you are reaching higher frequencies, and it can be lonely at times, but you are disconnecting so you can hear your heart, so you can hear your higher self, and the answers that you seek you shall find. There is purpose in this. There's so much more on the other side that is really rewarding, but you will get to that position where you break free, because the Tower can be a limiting structure or even a limiting belief that you kind of like smash through in order to, you know, remove a blockage so that you can have more of what you desire. The Hermit, of course, is a period of feeling exhausted, so that you remove yourself from that noise. If you think about hermits, they actually go into a cave, remove themselves from society. So some of you may have moved to an area which is nice and quiet, although there may have been some recent noise there. But it can be that you feel so far removed from an area that you used to frequent and you lament. But you're weighing up your options. You're thinking of the pros and cons of the area, for example, because you do have that home structure. So it can be that, you know, you can travel to the place that you once resided. You're not alone. You can return. The Hermit is in the resistance position as well as the upright in this position. So it can indicate that you are not returning to past patterns or mistakes or experiences that robbed you of joy. You're not returning to that. You've drawn a line in the sand with that Seven of Wands. But also it indicates integration, you know, not being single for long, but also not being alone or isolated a long time, if that makes sense. You won't be doing that for a long time. I feel like you are going to integrate in some way and transform your life. But also the Hermit, especially in the hope and a fear position, it can indicate that sometimes when we are so independent and we spend a long time by ourselves, it's really hard to integrate, if that makes sense. So if you've been single for a long time, sharing your life with a person who comes in who wants to love you, it's going to require some adjustments. So I feel like because you are so self-efficient, as it were, and I feel very independent, and there is a quest here for more independence because that Seven of Wands is in that position, but I feel there is an adjustment to be made. You're going to respond differently when you meet someone new. It's a worry that perhaps is not really going to be a worry because it's just going to be natural that when someone new comes into your life, you're just going to create space. You're just going to free yourself up. So I want to pull a card on this Tower because, of course, the Tower is there with a Five of Cups and the Hierophant. And these cards can indicate either someone shocks you or reveals their true colors, or something breaks down and has to kind of like be removed from your life. The Five of Cups can be that you're letting it go. You're lamenting it, but you're letting it go. Perhaps if you feel a relationship is no longer working, you're freeing yourself up. Five of Cups is, you know, a freedom that comes in saying, okay, enough. I can't do this anymore. I tried. I really feel here you're being fearless with your infantry in life. You're leading towards liberation. The Tower with the Hierophant is like you liberate yourself from the situation, but you learn a lot. Okay? But also some of you may discover like an epiphany about your life philosophy in the next coming weeks and months that helps you really change your life and gives you peace of mind, but also puts you in the path of something really rewarding and successful. So let me just pull a card on this Tower because I actually see, looking at the energy, it's not negative for you. I mean, the Five of Cups can indicate something is not going to be the same. But it's going to be more rewarding because if you know the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot, the figure laments the three cups that are spilt on the floor. But there's two cups behind them. And the universe is saying, trust me, you had to let go of those because they were no longer rewarding. But here, I offer you something better, something more fulfilling. So the universe is about to bestow that upon you because you have a Six of Cups, which is an offering from the universe. Knight of Cups is an offering. So I feel this is an energy of you to release yourself from a period where you've been feeling a bit stuck, romance your life a little bit more, and follow your heart. And you had to have that Two of Swords because the heart whispers. We've built a very loud world where it's hard to hear. So perhaps some of you, it's like freeing yourself up from things that perhaps you thought you wanted or had aligned yourself with at some point. But now everything's hitting different, and you're searching for what feels better, more rewarding, more fulfilling in some way, and you shall have it. The universe is going to align you with it as well. I mean, if you are looking for love, you could be really shocked that, you know, suddenly you feel like it's been a struggle for a long time, and suddenly you're meeting your soulmate, and suddenly you're settling down in a relationship, and there's marriage on the cards because the Hierophant is a marriage card. A lot of you, this is also this energy of commitment because the Hierophant is basically a commitment card. So it can indicate that you have so many commitments right now that it's hard to do the things that you love. It's time to create space. Five of Cups. You know, Five of Cups can be like you can leave some things out. Leave the dishes. Go out and have fun. You can do the dishes another time if that makes sense. Okay, of course it's not all about the dishes, but I'm just trying to highlight to you there what the energy is that's coming through. Now, of course, we also have the Empress. So this is about you valuing yourself in a different way, nourishing yourself in a different way, and also having a glow up. The Tower, I feel, is working really well for you. I feel it's important to recognize that the Tower can be like a structure that we build in our lives, where it locks us into something. You know, for example, like a mortgage. If you are buying real estate, it locks you in for a certain term. You have to honor that responsibility for a certain term and make repayment plans, okay? And that means you have to make some adjustments financially in the rest of your life in order to make that work. So it can be that you have certain responsibilities or duties or structures in your life that you've built that have kept you in a certain position for some time, and now you are releasing yourself from that, and there's a freedom. The Empress energy indicates, you know, that you could be like having new ideas that help you financially, or it can be that as you mature, you unlock like a new lease of life. Some of you could be like overcoming some menopause symptoms. If you're a feminine energy, for example, suddenly you're managing them and you feel a new lease of life. The Tower can be like hot flushes that have come and go there. But with the Hierophant, through knowledge, there may be something with that Five of Cups you can let go of, let out of your diet, or perhaps something's been triggering you and you suddenly find out what it is, maybe through a practitioner. Because the Hierophant can be a structure or an establishment that has knowledge that can help you with whatever it is that you need help with. You know, it doesn't have to be if you're going through the menopause. It can also be that, you know, you've been managing a symptom of something for some time and it's up and down and you're trying to keep it balanced or calibrated, and you may have a flare-up, but suddenly, you know, you find a way to manage it, and it may be that you like locate the trigger point and suddenly you feel awesome again. So I feel this energy here is about you being your best self, and kind of like body, mind, soul, and your immediate circumstances, kind of like making an assessment in your life right now and going, okay, where do I feel like I'm at? What needs to change? What do I need to let go of? Who do I need to let go of? Where do I need to be? Where do I feel like I belong? You're aligning yourself. I mean, this figure is completely aligned with the chakras, right? So it can be that you are coming back into alignment of self. You're coming home to self. You're rediscovering that spark, that creativity, that playfulness within you. But the responsibility is always there. Now, the Ten of Cups and the Knight of Cups is like, to be truly happy, some adjustments need to be made. The Knight of Swords there is an energy of lifestyle changes. So I feel a lot of you are going through that right now. And that Ten of Cups indicates happiness, peaceful mind, things working out effortlessly for you. I mean, life is always going to be about ups and downs, but this is about taking pleasure in all that you've accomplished so far, the present moment with the people that you allow into your life. But also the Ten of Cups indicates success, joy, contentment, having the desire, you know, the security of relationships, whether they're romantic or friendship, but also feeling satisfied with yourself, finding stability and wholeness within self, you know, coming home to self. That's what I'm feeling here. And also, the Ten of Cups can be that some of you feel this desire for new stimuli. You know, you may feel like you've reached a plateau in life and you're now searching for something else that's going to be a little bit more exciting. So I feel with that Knight of Swords, this is you doing new things or responding differently to your usual circumstances, broadening your horizons, thinking of new things that you want in your life, learning new things, languages, you know, art practices, you know, upskilling, maybe just learning more about yourself because the Empress is there. The Empress can be an energy, whether it's masculine or feminine. I mean, the Empress energy is a feminine energy, but this could be that you're embracing a softer side of you, whether you're masculine or feminine. It can be that you're opening yourself up to creative ideas, or you're like, you know, deciding to get more involved with nature, or you're loving yourself a bit deeper. You're seeing yourself in a different way. That Knight of Swords is an energy of making major, long-lasting changes. But also it indicates that you've been through some stuff. And you've been through a battle. And you're coming out the other side. And although you may be in two minds about a decision right now, you're going to confront the pros and cons of this decision. And you're going to make the right decision. That Three of Wands tells me you are going to make the right decision. Especially when it's partnered with that King of Pentacles there. So I would say right now, you are working with the resources that you have in life. I feel like you're showing up for yourself. I feel like things are going to get better there. I feel a lot of you are in a period of stillness or pause on purpose in order to become more stable within yourself, ground yourself. Yeah, look at this. We've got, you're stepping into your highest divine life path. The frequencies are elevating, and so are you. You're holding yourself to higher standards. You're not willing to coast. You're ambitious, you're focused, you're paying lots of attention to detail right now in your life. And you're being meticulous. So I feel this is, you know, exciting this time. And we've got a beautiful seagull there, so that highlights that, you know, you're casting a critical eye above the whole of your life right now, seeing things from a different viewpoint and getting a bird's eye view of the things that you want to change. And it says, all the right things will come to you in the most unexpected ways. And that Tower is a card of surprise. I mean, the Tower is not a negative card. It literally means a structure that has held you in a cycle of repeat for a long time. Something that maybe you were comfortable with for some time, but then suddenly you started to feel a bit frustrated and you thought, well, I want something new. There's an awakening in that. You're setting yourself free. There's liberation there. But also, you know, along with the Wheel of Fortune, those two cards literally mean surprise. A surprise restructure or, you know, an upheaval. Something that you're doing differently that you may shock a lot of people. But I feel something is coming to you in the most unexpected way. And it may come at a cost of you either turning something down or walking away from something or valuing yourself to say, that's not for me. Then the universe rewards you with something that is for you. So, you know, I just heard a sentence from my guides, okay, which was, the best things come to those who wait. And there is an energy here of Two of Swords and the Three of Wands. You're waiting for something. Well, whatever it is that you're waiting for, you're going to get the highest energy of it. Super positive, okay? So I'm just going to go and get a trinket or rune before we close. Oh. So we have a little paw print there. So this can indicate that you're making your mark on something, but also it can be that, you know, some of you are thinking about adopting a pet, or actually you may have a pet adopt you there. I mean, this is a symbol of comfort. So looking at all the cards, I feel like you are about to branch out and come out of your comfort zone. And I feel it's going to be very rewarding indeed, okay? So I'll leave it there. I hope something resonates, my beautiful Pisces. Thank you so much, and love and light.